It's a great day to be a Bulldog. Really excited about the opportunity in front of us tomorrow. Again, awfully proud of my team. Just to rehash with Washington how good they are and how well coached they are, and it was a tremendous victory for us. Proud of our second and fourth quarters. I thought those were big for us. I thought our conditioning and just our physical presence really took over. You know, looking ahead to Baylor, obviously extremely talented, well-coached basketball team. I've known Coach Mulkey a long time. I've had a little bit of experience dealing with her teams, and this team is no different. They are a big, strong, physical basketball team, and they were even more impressive. I told the kids this morning in film, I don't watch a lot of film I don't watch a lot of games during the season of people outside of our league, but for some reason it worked out. I know I saw them more than anyone else outside of our conference, and seeing them yesterday in person was really impressive. And again, it's kind of like the old days. Some of y'all haven't been around long enough to know, but in the old days you could have one in-person off-campus scouting of opponents. Today the rules don't allow that, but in the old days you could do that one time. And when you scout in person, the thing that the film doesn't show is quickness, speed, and how truly big someone is. And yesterday, I got that up close and in person. And so we're excited. We've had a good film skull session this morning with our team. We're excited about the opportunity. And again, I think our league hopefully prepares us for this moment. And I think our kids are excited about the opportunity in front of us.
Okay, these are going to be questions for our student athletes. And if you would please identify the student athlete you want to answer the question. We'll take the questions from the floor. We'll start on the aisle, and then we'll come over to the middle.
Yeah, Cliff Brown, Associated Press. This is for Tierra. When you look at Baylor, if you've had a chance to see much of them, what stands out to you about their interior players?
Well, they're all tall. Like, they're a very tall team. So just going in and guarding them, like, we have smaller guards, but I think it would be a good matchup.
We had a question all the way in the rear, and then we'll come back to the front, guys.
Tom Ebel with WCBI Sports in Columbus. This is for Tierra as well. Coach Schaefer mentioned yesterday trying to bottle up that performance from yesterday and get back-to-back big performances out of you. What are you doing in your own to try and prepare yourself to come out with the same kind of intensity as yesterday?
It's nothing that I don't do on an everyday basis in practice, so just put myself in that situation, you know, just telling myself, like, you have to go out, you have to have another good game and put 2 good games back-to-back.
We got a question on the front.
Good morning, Adam Inakino from the Commercial Dispatch. Dom, can you describe the different challenge of facing, like Tierra just said, not only a team with as much size they have in the post, but in the backcourt, and how that's going to be different from the last two, where DePaul and Washington were kind of similar?
Yeah. Last game in Washington, they didn't have as big as a post player as we do. In Osahor, she could step away from the basket and hit the 3. And in DePaul, they could step away from the basket and hit the 3. So in Baylor, they're more pound it in, pound the ball inside. So I think it's just, I mean, we've prepared for this all year. We played South Carolina twice already, and I feel like they're very similar to South Carolina. So I think we're prepared, and we'll have a good game plan today.
Question in the front middle.
For Victoria, Steve Robertson with Jeans Page and Dogs Bite. Victoria, how long can you celebrate yesterday, and how quickly do you have to flush that to get ready for a team like Baylor?
I feel like we celebrated all night last night, but this morning we focused on Baylor now. So we started with film, now we just got to go to practice and put what the coach says in.
Question on the outside right.
Michelle Vopel, ESPN.com. This is for Morgan. Dom just mentioned the South Carolina comparison, which I think is a pretty strong comparison. You played them 3 times. They have the big guards, how they said, the big women inside. Can you talk, I guess, specifically about more that guard matchup? I know you're used to going against guards maybe that are a little bit bigger than you, but Baylor has a lot of guards. Is that similar to what you face when you go against South Carolina?
Well, yeah, pretty much every opponent I face is pretty much bigger than me, so I just feel like we just got to play like tough, physical, and aggressive, like Coach Schaefer always tells us, and we just got to play our game plan, pressure the ball, make sure they get no easy looks.
Got a question on the outside left.
Dominic, Robbie Falk with Starkville Daily News. This program and this team in particular seems to thrive on the, I guess, the underdog mentality. I know Coach was talking about he felt like y'all deserved a little more respect. What was y'all's thoughts going in the game last night when you see a lot of experts picking Washington and things of that nature? What was y'all's thoughts, and how did you feel like you guys have kind of thrived under that?
I think we believe that we were the higher seed, so I think we believe that we should win. And I think we agree with Coach Schaefer that we don't get the respect that we should, and that we've worked so hard to be here, and I don't think we get the credit we deserve sometimes. We've beaten a lot of great teams already this year, and we're going to try to be another great team on Sunday.
Got a question on the front.
Will Savin from the Clarion Ledger. Dom, anything different about this year's training and conditioning program, and why has it been so successful?
We have a new strength coach this year, Coach Harvey, and I think he's really pushed us to our limits and past our limits, and I think he gets the best out of us. He knows us. He's very personable with us, and I think he knows how to get everything out of us, and he's really just been great with us this year. And, you know, our practices, like Coach Schaefer said yesterday, we're not sitting around every 10 minutes getting water. Our practices are very fast-paced. We play a game every day. It's called Bulldog. We play multiple times a day. It's a really fast-paced game, and if you're not in shape, you're not going to be able to play. So it's just practice really helps with our conditioning.
Question on the front left.
Logan Lowry, Tupelo Daily Journal. Tierra, I'm just curious, have you ever gone against anybody else that's 6'7" like you are, and how do you kind of see that matchup unfolding tomorrow?
I don't think I have. Well, I played against Kalani in, I think, AAU one summer, but that's the last time I played against her, and that's probably the last time. But not Asia, I played against Asia. She's kind of my size. But I think it's just going to be size going against size. Like, it's going to be a great matchup.
We had a question on the front right side.
Good morning, Bree. With all of the sides, let's continue the defensive theme. Not only for the posts, but what is the challenge for the 3s and the 4s to try to negate some of that size that Baylor's going to bring?
I think for us, their main thing is a high-low matchup. So with us to help Tierra and the bigs out, we just deny in the high post. We might give her a couple of shots, but other than that, we're defending her off the bounce, and if we deny high-low, it should shut most of their stuff down.
Front row, left side.
Hugh Kellenberger from the Clarion Ledger. Tierra, was Baylor part of your recruiting process at all? Who was it for you that Mississippi State, and who else were your finalists?
Well, Baylor recruited me a lot in high school. Like, they were on me hard. But I just knew I had to look at how many bigs they had and, like, what all was set there. So I just came somewhere where I thought I would be best fit and can contribute to the team.
Any further questions for our student athletes? Okay, ladies, we're going to let you return to the locker room. Have a good practice and good luck. So if you want to go down and talk to any of the student athletes, you may do so. Otherwise, we'll take questions for Coach now. We'll start on the front right side. That's fine. We'll move it up in a minute. Go ahead.
Yeah, Cliff Brown, Associated Press. I'm just looking at Victoria Vivian's stats for the season. Just wanted to know the thought process behind her not being a starter at this point in the season, and just I guess, how that works for you, and it looks like it is working for you.
Well, it's not just her. We've shuffled our lineup here in the last, in the NCAA tournament a little bit, and I think it's really worked well for us. We've had some kids step up. We actually rolled 4 new starters out in our regional, and Morgan was the only one that remained. Tierra was the 6th player of the year coming off the bench in the Southeastern Conference. I've been starting Rashunda Johnson, Blair Schaefer, and Katera Chappell at 2, 3, and 4, and been bringing Victoria and Dom and Bree off the bench. So Tierra, the switch with Tierra and Chinway was really, Chinway's been getting in foul trouble early, so I thought maybe she would relax a little bit coming off the bench, and Tierra's earned the right to start. She's had a heck of a year. I didn't want to put her in the starting lineup in the middle of conference because, number one, it was working. Number two, I wanted her to be 6th player of the year in the league. And that was a goal for her. About halfway through the year, she deserved to start. And she never said anything, but you want to be honest with your kids. And I was honest with her. I said, hey, you're out playing Chi right now, but let's keep it the way it is, and I'll give you a goal. Go win the 6th player of the year award. And she kind of lit up. And so that was kind of a goal for her. And for young kids, sometimes that's what they need. They need a vision. They need someone to point them in the right direction. And so, she went and got it. These other 3, it's just been something that's worked. And, who's to say that's going to be what's going to be tomorrow? The unknown has kind of worked for us the last couple of weeks, and I'm not going to change the unknown right now.
Question on the front, on the right side.
Good morning. With all the talk about Baylor's size, I'm not sure if it gets lost in the shuffle, but one player who might not be talked about as much is Nina Davis. And oh, by the way, she was Conference Player of the Year. What kind of challenge does she present when she's maybe not the focal point of a team?
Well, I can tell you, we talked at length this morning about Nina Davis, and I'm very familiar with her and her accomplishments. We're having to deal with a great team that has size. I think that's the best way we can do it. I think y'all picked the size piece this morning, so we addressed it. But as for the coach, he'll address Baylor's a great basketball team. Tremendous leadership at point, big, long 2-guard that can rise up and shoot it over the top of you. Athleticism everywhere. But size and strength certainly stands out. Again, when you're sitting there press row last night, I mean, they can. It's at one point they rolled out 6'7" and 6'5" out there, just like we have, but we don't ever play ours together. Well, they do. And then they had Nina Davis at the 3. So, really, obviously, a tremendous basketball team that's highly skilled, well coached. There's a reason why they're a number 1 seed and been in the top 4 all year. So that being said, we in film this morning, it wasn't about size. It was about everything. And, there's probably not enough time in the day to deal with all that.
Question on the right. Go ahead.
Okay. Coach, your daughter averages 5 points for the season, but is averaging 16 in the NCAA tournament. What's clicked?
Well, the coach is playing her a little bit more. That's probably helped a little bit. I think for her, it's just been, she sees the moment. I watch her and Rashunda every day, and they have great chemistry together, playing together in that game we call Bulldog. And so when I inserted both those kids in the starting lineup, I've been looking at that all year long. Again, the media's caught up in who's out there when we're jumping center. I'm caught up in who's out there during the course of a ball game and maybe who's on the floor when it's, really important compared to when there's 20 minutes in the first quarter, 10 minutes in the first quarter. So, but for her, I think it's, again, she's prepared all her life for this moment. There's no moment too big for her. She's shooting the ball well. I think if y'all want to start trying to figure things out, figure out that this time of year it's about getting hot. I got 13 players, really good players, and some of them are hot right now. It's my job to play those that are hot, and she's making shots. She took a couple bad shots last night, but it's because she's trying. You know, nobody wants to win more than her. She's a competitor. She's tough. She step in front of a freight train, take a charge. She's my best help side defender. So she brings a lot to the table. Probably the best thing she does is she sets good screens. If anybody's paying attention to what she does, she's a hell of a screener. Tough. And there's a lot of reasons to play her right now. And again, I think it's a kid coming of age, maturing. Even though physically she might not look as imposing as some others, she's smart. She's always a half a step ahead in her brain, in her mind, and that's what you got to be when you're only 5'6" playing at this level. You better have something else going for you. And right now she's got a pretty good shot, and she's smart.
Question on the outside left.
Hey Vic, just going back to what I asked about the underdog mentality, I guess is that something that you harp on with some of these players? Some of them, you know, Morgan might not be bigger than some of the girls she goes up against. Jazz, players like that. Jazz talked about the other day she has a chip on her shoulder. Is that something that you harp with this group that not many people expect them to go as far as they've made it?
You know, not really, to be honest with you. I was a little disappointed last night. I think everybody in the room got my message because, we are the second. We finished second in the Southeastern Conference, and we played for 2 SEC championships. So I think, the lack of respect that I feel like our team got, it's also kind of a slap in the face on our league because our league's a monster of a league, as y'all know, that's covered us. So, it is more of a standing up for my league, standing up for the second-place team in our league, a team that played for 2 SEC championships within a week, has played for 3 SEC championships in the last 2 years. Sometimes these people that are picking people, they hadn't seen us play. They don't know anything about our kids. They don't know anything about what we do or how we do it. And that's important to me. That's what's in our locker room. It's not what you do, but how you do it that separates yourself from the rest of the country. So I don't really talk to these kids about that. I think, kids, they're all about social media. I don't have to tell them too many things that they don't already know. And I think they saw it before I did, to be honest with you. Somebody had to tell me who picked who. I could give a rat's, you know what. I mean, it doesn't matter to me. I'm just going to get these kids ready, and you tell me who we're playing and when and where, and we're going to be there. And that's how I feel about it. And I think throughout the course of our season, it prepares us. You better have that kind of mentality, because if you don't, you'll never get to this point dealing with the monsters we got to deal with in our league. I mean, it's just a heck of a league. And so anyway.
Question on the front left.
Yeah, Vic, in building this program as quickly as you have, obviously you need to recruit talent, but what were you looking for? What made you say, this is a girl I need to get? What kind of qualities?
Well, again, I think if you see us play, we talk about being a tough, physical, aggressive basketball team, and that doesn't say anything about your jump shot. 2 kids transformed our team in a really short period of time. Let me back up. The senior class that I have is the all-time winningest class in the history of the program. They'll go down as 4 of the best players to ever play there. Dominique Dillingham and Savannah Carter, who was a junior college kid, I recruited those kids not because of their jump shot. I recruited them because of their toughness and their competitive spirit. The little team that I inherited when I got there in 2012, it's what we were missing. That first year when we went 13 and 17, I knew that was coming down the pipe. We didn't recruit anybody. When we took the job in April, we didn't add anybody to the team. We took those kids that we inherited, we coached them just as hard and just as tough as we're coaching these kids. Those kids made a commitment to change, and I give those kids a lot of credit. But when we were recruiting, we had to recruit the competitive spirit. We had to recruit a toughness because we just didn't have any. And again, to survive in our league at this level, you better have some toughness to you. You better be competitive. If you're not competitive, you got no chance. You'll be gobbled up and spit out. And it's just the way it is. So that was a piece we had to have. And those two kids changed practices. They brought it every day. And so then with those two kids, that whole first class with Bree and Katera added to it and Chinwei, they kind of transformed what it looks like today. But the next class was the same way. Tough, physical, aggressive, but skilled. Remember, that was the top 20 class with Victoria, Blair, Morgan. And so that was a real competitive class that had a skill set. And then every class after that, I think, has had both. And again, if you're going to live at this level, you've got to recruit not only tough, physical, and aggressive kids, but they got to have a skill set. You can't function one-dimensional. People in our life, we got too many good coaches. They'll just take that away, and then you'll be miserable because you can't do anything. So I think that's the piece that we've been able to do at Mississippi State and kind of change our program.
Question on the outside right.
Yeah, Coach, this game called Bulldog keeps coming up. How does it work?
So there's 24 seconds on the shot clock. You play for 4 minutes, and there's 24 seconds on the shot clock. And we don't call a lot of fouls except for the obvious. But whenever you score, you're trying to score as fast as you can. And whatever's on the shot clock, that's how many points you get. So if you get an offensive board and a stick back, you might get 23 points, okay? If the other team scores and you get it in and streak down the floor and score with 18 seconds, then you get 18 points. And so that's the game that we're playing. And, I mean, we're pressing. Both teams are pressing. We're picking up full court, and it's one of these. And it gets you, just like last night, we get down 7, I think, in the first half, but these kids have been down 77, in Bulldog and come back to win. What you guys haven't seen is what I'm telling you is this: we have a maroon and a gray team. The gray team, by the way, has been starting lately. Well, the gray team's been beating the maroon team for about 2 weeks, more often than not. So everybody in the media wants to know, gosh, how do you all of a sudden flip the switch and play these kids? Well, I've been watching them kick their butt for 2 weeks. At some point, you know what? They've earned the right. And so that's the piece that you don't see. But that's, in essence, the game of Bulldog. And so you're trying to score as fast and as quick as you can, get up and down, really have a fast-paced tempo. And I think you saw last night in both quarters, the second and fourth quarter, tempo, we got down, tempo got sped up, we started playing good. We start doing some good things.
Question on the aisle.
Hey, Vic. Depth and conditioning have been a big reason why you're here. Baylor is very similar in that regard, so it got me thinking about, what has been Anthony's role? Why'd you go with him? I know he has had a lot of credentials, so why'd you hire him? What has he implemented that's been different this year?
Well, it's the first strength coach we've been able to hire strictly for women's basketball at Mississippi State. Obviously, he came from the NBA, worked for the Detroit Pistons, had been with the Orlando Magic, and so he had some experience at a pretty high level. And he really wanted the job. He wanted to get back into college athletics. Took a pay cut to get into college athletics. So, that says volumes about him personally and his involvement and his investment in our program. And, he's a stickler. He wants the kids to send him pictures of what they're eating. He's on them when he knows they're not eating right, which, you know what? Our kids don't eat right. I wish I could sit up here and brag about how good they eat, but they're kids. They like to eat junk. They like to eat fast food. But, and you know what, 10 to 15 years ago, well, I'd have probably been right there with him complaining. But at the end of the day, as I get older, I've kind of, our football coach at Mississippi State, pregame meal for our football team, he don't care what they eat as long as they eat. If they want burgers, give them burgers. If they want wings, give them wings. And you know what? if you're going to put a piece of grilled chicken in front of somebody and a dry baked potato and green beans, and they look at it and go, I'd rather them eat the burger and fries than not eat anything. Doesn't matter how healthy it is in front of them. If a kid doesn't want it, they're not going to eat it. So I've changed. I'm proud of myself because I'm telling you, 20 years ago, I'd have been shoving that dry chicken, in front of them and making them eating that. So I think that's good. I think you got to adapt to kids, and so. But he's been good in that regard, and he pays attention, and so it's been good. I think what they probably would tell you too is our practices, even though we're really intense and go really hard, we probably aren't going as long as I have in the past. Again, maybe that's me getting a little older and a little wiser. I don't know. Maybe that's me getting soft. That's how I feel about it. But at the end of the day, we're 32-4. Maybe I need to soften up.
That's going to be the final question for Coach on the right.
Coach, you had a chance to visit with one of your former players last night. She said that you have made an impact in her life and that she would not be where she is today. To get a chance to visit with someone like that from more than 25 years, what does that say about the journey that you've been on? And even though you might have grown a little soft, that you've still made an impression on someone from that far back?
Yeah, it was really special to see Jennifer here. And she was, anybody, y'all don't know this, but in 1990, when I got my first head coaching job at Sam Houston State, I'd never been a women's coach. I had coached women's tennis at Milby High School in Houston, Texas. That was the extent of my experience coaching women. I'd been a freshman boys high school coach, coached the first 9th grade boys team that ever went to campus in HISD at Milby. Had been a men's assistant at Sam Houston State from 87 to 89, and then went back to Milby as the freshman boys coach. So in 1990, when I got the job at Sam Houston State, I got the job a month after signing date. There were 3 kids on the team, and I didn't have the first contact or know where to find the first basketball player was. And I recruited Jennifer out of the newspaper. She was all Greater Houston in Houston, Texas, and that's where I found her name. And, to see her at the game last night, to know that she just got on an airplane with her son and flew up here to watch us play. She had stopped by Starkville 4 years ago. She was in the area working. But that's pretty special. And, back then, y'all, I was a young guy that was pretty naive to what I was doing and understanding the importance of what I was doing. And I probably wasn't the easiest guy to play for. And I give her a lot of credit. I give all those kids a lot of credit. I'm a lot different today and have a much greater appreciation for where I am, what I'm doing, and who I'm doing it with. And, Jennifer, for her to say that's awfully kind. She's pretty successful, and I'm proud of her for that. So thanks for bringing that up. I'll try to get out of here without crying.
We're going to let you go at any time, Coach.
Okay. Well, I don't have practice till 12. Anybody got anything else? Hey, go ahead. I'll run this deal.
Vic, you're acting like Gary.
I know. I'm sorry. Don't do that.
Steve Robertson with Jeans Page. Coach, it's historically the best players in the state of Mississippi went out of state for their college basketball careers. How have you been able to change that?
I think the thing that most impresses me about our state is we have so many good people, good families. It's a down-to-earth, hard-working state. And I think those kids and their families realize they don't have to go somewhere else to play top 10 basketball. They can come right to Mississippi State. They know their kids are going to be well taken care of. They can put their head on the pillow at night and close their eyes and go, you know what? Coach Schaefer and his staff are going to take good care of my baby. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how old those girls get, they're always going to be somebody's baby. And we take great pride. I have a tremendous staff, and we take great pride in making sure that we are taking good care of these kids. It's not just about basketball. And my staff is the best. And I have great role models for these young ladies. they see when they come down the hall every day and sign my door, which they have to, outside of basketball. I want to see them outside of a practice uniform. When they come sign my door every day, they got to walk by 3 full-time assistant coaches' doors, and they get to see firsthand what a professional looks like, how somebody acts, how they talk on the phone, how they dress. And these are things that, to me, is very important in today's world, and they're a great role model for our young ladies. So I think that's what it is. I think we've done a good job of closing the borders and keeping those kids at state.
Okay, Coach, we're going to let you go now.
Thank you.
When you talk to Blair, be sure and tell him you pulled this off, okay?
Praise the Lord and go Dogs.